Hi everyone, welcome to July, and right here in the middle of July where I am, it happens to be 96 degrees at the moment. I know it's probably around the same if you happen to be in the Northern Hemisphere. I know all across the US right now, it's just a non-stop heat wave, which means that you tend to think a little less of comfort food and a little more cool food, right? You're looking for any type of relief. So plant-based could mean a whole variety of things, right? Scrambling to get salads or maybe a cold soup, sandwiches, a little quick, grabbing type food, something that doesn't take a lot of effort, especially in the kitchen, because who wants to be in the kitchen when it's 96 degrees out, right? Unless you have the air conditioning, and it's a great place to be. But even then, I think, if you look outside, the sun's shining. I personally love the heat, so I'm out playing. It doesn't matter, especially in the Pacific Northwest. We never get, exceptional heat. It might be 96 for a day or two, but then it goes right back down to 80 degrees. So it's usually very lovely here, but I just absolutely love summer. It's just nonstop sunshine. It's just wonderful to go outside and play. No coats, right? Who needs a coat? Who needs anything like that? So for me, my focus changes a little bit as I move into the summer months with what I'm looking for in a cookbook. And I know over the last 3 years, I've had just pretty much all different kinds of cookbooks that I've recommended that get you in the kitchen and help you produce lunches and dinner items. I think I did have a cookie recipe or a cookie cookbook in December a couple of years ago, because you have to have a cookie cookbook in December, right? It has to have one on your cookbook shelf. But I also find that occasionally in the summertime, you crave ice cream, right? You crave something sweet, you crave something cold, just human nature, especially when it's 96 degrees out and you're looking for a little bit of relief. So I thought it would be fun to kind of turn the hands a little bit here in the month of July and actually give you a cookbook that will help you stay cool, that will help you get into dessert mode, to help you find something cool and something refreshing that you can pull out and actually have fun in the kitchen, because after all, isn't that what it's all about? I love being plant-based. I love focusing on whole foods, real ingredients, getting as close to the source as possible. But occasionally you just have to have dessert. You have to have a treat. And if that's the case, if that's what you're looking for, why not jump in and go with Super Vegan Scoops? Absolutely have found this a fascinating cookbook. Again, something that was just briefly recommended online when I was doing a few searches. And I have to admit, yes, that I have fallen in love with this cookbook. This is a great one that says 100 dairy-free frozen dessert recipes. And I think that's what I like about it the most, is it's not just ice cream. It's not just, a frozen treat that you stick into your freezer and can pull out by the scoop. She actually has a variety of sections. She has solo scoops, so all kinds of different ice cream recipes that you can make. But then she also has novelties, so you can make pudding pops and popsicles. She even has a recipe for ice cream donuts. How cool is that, right? And then she has sundaes, because again, sometimes sundaes are where it's at more so than even just a scoop of ice cream. And her celebration cakes, so you can actually make a cake. I know that's something my husband actually loves, having ice cream cakes for his birthday. So this is a great way that you can make an ice cream treat, maybe for someone's birthday. She also has masterpieces, meltdown masterpieces, where you actually melt the ice cream and include them as an ingredient. And then another section that I found very interesting is she has sauces, sides, and staples. So if you've ever wanted to know how to make marshmallows, vegan marshmallows, she's got the recipe right inside here, which is very cool, because I personally have never been a marshmallow fan. Maybe in s'mores occasionally I would have them, but overall marshmallows have never been my thing. But to veganize them, it's very interesting. And the other thing with this book, when you do get into some of the staples, some of the recipes that you would keep on side for the sides of your ice cream sundaes and things, You might be surprised at some of the ingredients that you actually use in order to create some of this. And I think that's what's fascinating about when you get into plant-based cooking. The more exposure you have to it, the more that you pull away from more traditional foods, the more you learn and the more you start thinking about substitutions and how you can bring this into other cooking that you do throughout the year, throughout the day, all that kind of stuff. I know I was having lunch with someone just the other day, and she mentioned that she just cannot eat eggs anymore. She won't buy them, and she can't put them in any of her traditional food anymore. And I just happened to mention to her that in baking, because she was having trouble actually finding egg substitutes, that you can actually take 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed meal and combine that with 3 tablespoons of water, mix it up and let it set for a little bit. And that creates a great egg substitute when you're including it in things like cakes or cookies. That's my go-to egg replacement. I keep an entire bag just in my freezer of flaxseed meal because, again, it's just so easy and it kind of gives it a longer shelf life. Just take that tablespoon out of there whenever I need an egg replacement. And that is something that, again, I can carry through even if I pick up a more traditional recipe and I want to substitute real eggs for an egg substitute. I know in the back of my mind that that flaxseed meal is sitting there, it's ready to go. And I think that's again, for me, has been the intriguing thing that I've learned throughout this journey, is there are so many really good substitutes that you can make for some things that are a little more traditional, and if you're wanting just to make slight changes into it. And the more you change out your recipe, the more you grow and understand how flavors come together, I guarantee you're also going to start relaxing some of the other things you do. For instance, like myself, I very rarely use the amount of sugar that any recipe recommends. It's just way, way, way too sweet for me, which tends to be why I don't buy a lot of desserts anymore, because they are so sweet. I cannot stomach them. I cannot, the taste is just so overwhelming to me. One bite and it's like, oh, it's enough. It's just way too sweet. So when you're cooking it yourself, when you're, using a cookbook like this, and you also have all this experience over time as you gain that, you can adjust things so that it's more pleasing to your own palate. And overall, you can start reducing it if it requires, say, a half a cup of sugar. Usually what I do is I'll take a knife and I'll scrape the top of it, dipping into the cup a little bit, so it'll take out a tablespoon or so. You can start by doing something as simple as that, and then you can just slowly reduce. If it calls for a half a cup, maybe you put in a third a cup, or a quarter cup, maybe you put in just a couple tablespoons. You start learning little tricks like that, and you can adjust it according to your own taste, to your own specifications, and to your own likes. Again, I think that's something that's so important, rather than buying stuff directly on the shelves of your local market. When you buy a cookbook, you control every aspect of it. And then you can get flavors, you can get tastes, you can get all that stuff totally based on who you are and what you're looking for. And this, like I said, right away, the minute we picked up this book, some of her ideas are just, fascinating, things that we'd never thought about for ice cream before. Just to give you a couple of sneak peeks. Cucumber, Rita frozen yogurt, where you actually use cucumbers in there. Love that kind of stuff. Sugar snap pea ice cream. Have you ever thought about adding sugar snaps into it? Or maybe, again, rhubarb sherbet. I absolutely love rhubarb. I've got a ton of rhubarb recipes over on my Substack, because that is one ingredient that I cannot wait for. Usually sometime in April, when it starts appearing at our local farmers market. And I buy it until June or July, or as soon as it flies off the shelves. I'm always searching that out. And if I happen to find it either in my farmer's market or in my local grocery store, I'm always picking up rhubarb and freezing it. I've actually started freezing some of it too, so that I can extend the season just a little bit longer. It's just one of those resources, one of those food items that I absolutely adore, and I try and use it as long as possible. But on the flip side of it, you know, I do kind of like having it just for a few short months, because as April comes around again, it's something I really look forward to. And I think really that's one of the things that I like most about using farmers markets and really relying on growing local, because it's a surprise. It's one of those things you look forward to a food coming back into the markets, as opposed to being able to get it on the shelf 12 months of the year. It just kind of makes it feel like an extra special little treat when you finally do get it back into your market. So in any case, if you're looking for something special that you can jump into your kitchen this July, I would highly suggest checking this out. Super Vegan Scoops, plant-based ice cream for everyone. Just take a look at it again with 100 dairy-free frozen dessert recipes. There is something in here for everybody. You can give it a try and see what you think yourself. I would love to hear from you if you give this a shot, or if you've tried any of my cookbooks. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you again next month. Bye-bye.